Oh, hey, what's going on, everybody? Well, we're back out here working on the Firebird. Finding more screw-ups. More hidden damage. This poor car has just been beat to death, honestly. We can't figure out all the crap that happened. It's just a mess. I mean, we're at the point where we keep finding stuff that's bent and mangled. It's just a real interesting.
Cleaning out rat nests.
Yeah, we found some mice nest inside of it too. So this is what we got going on today. We started trimming out the wheel well for what we need for the lip and everything, because the actual wheel well is actually really good. I mean, it's all solid all through here, even up in here it's solid. So we're making our plan on how we're going to fit the wheel well in here. We're not using the whole wheel well, which, you know, I don't know, I'm sure people have opinions on that, but to me there's no reason to put a whole wheel well in it when we don't need to. So kind of sucks I had to buy a whole wheel well to get what we need, but it is what it is. So we're got this trimmed out. We need to start fitting the wheel well, but we're waiting on, I ended up ordering a trunk drop off for it, because this trunk drop off is just, it's a mess, and it's just easier to replace it than to try and sit here and patch and make stuff work. So what we're probably going to end up doing is we're probably just going to use pieces of the wheel well, or pieces of the trunk drop off, because up in this area is all good.
As we know it.
As we know.
We got to see what the new one looks like.
Yeah, we need to see.
This may be damaged.
Yeah, we're thinking, we're not sure. We think this might be bent. Because we're looking at it and this thing keeps springing up. And we actually jacked this down, and you can jack it down level. And I took a hammer, and before you could see between the bracket and this trunk drop off, but I pushed it down and I beat on this with a hammer right in here. So I'm almost thinking it might be sprung from when it got tagged in the back. So if that's the case, then we're probably, I don't know what we're going to do. We'll figure it out when let's get the other panel and figure out what, we need to know what it looks like. And we need to get an idea of what we're dealing with. So, plus it's just easier, instead of messing, this stuff down here in the bottom is so rotted away down here. I mean, it's solid and you could probably work with it, but my whole thing is, why sit here and fight with it when we can just put another panel in and be done with it. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just to the point where it's easier to replace than it is to fabricate. So, and we got a little bit of crap going on right here, but the whole thing of it is that this doesn't even go into the trunk. It goes in between the tail panel and the inner tail panel. So we did a little bit of hammer and dolly work on the rear tail panel here, and we got it actually out where it's level. You know, it feels a lot smoother with the rest of it. It probably doesn't look it. It's all wavy because it got hit, but yeah, and then they pop riveted that big freaking piece of steel on there, and then of course they pulled the metal when they did that. So we got it as straight as we're going to get it without tearing the whole panel off of it. So I don't know, there's probably going to be some filler in there, but it kind of is what it is. I mean, there's not much you can do about it. It's going to be better than it was before, let's just put it that way. It ain't going to be perfect. This is never going to be a show car. I mean, it could be if somebody wants to put the time and energy in it, and to be honest with you, I don't have the time or the energy for that. But I mean, people are probably going to say it's probably easier to drill off the tail panel and 2/4 panels, and I agree. But the problem is money and, you know, sheet metal and availability of sheet metal, because God knows what's available anymore. So, because I know I checked Jegs on the drop off, and they were saying they weren't going to see them until March. So I ended up getting it from Summit. They actually had one. So that's where it kind of stands. Like I said, I'm sure people aren't agreeing won't agree with what I'm doing here, but you know, the wheel well, I don't I don't see a reason to replace the whole wheel well if we don't have to, because the majority of the wheel well is still good. Basically, the only problem with the wheel well is back here at the trunk drop off and the lip where the quarter panel goes. So the rest of it's fine. So that's what we've got done so far. So I'm hoping we might see that drop off tomorrow.
Nice.
It'd be nice if it shows up tomorrow. Maybe we'll come out and we'll do a little bit of investigating and
Yeah.
eyeballing and seeing what we got going on.
Yeah, because I like to know what if this has been.
Yeah, we need to know if this has been tweaked or damaged or what's going on with it. I mean, we can't, I don't see, I mean, there is kind of a dip right there, but I don't know if that's part of the trunk floor.
It looks like it.
It looks like it is. And I don't see any kinks up top here. You know, I feel right there, I feel a spot where it might have, where it got stretched a little bit. So,
Just won't know until we have that.
yeah, we're not going to know until we have the panel.
We wanna make sure before
Yeah, we got to make sure that we got something, that this isn't messed up. So,
more than what it is.
well, what we're trying to do right now is we're trying to figure out everything. We're cleaning up everything and getting everything, all our ducks in a row. So we're not having all this surprise stuff that, oh, well, we can't get this together because something's mangled. So we're trying.
We don't want nothing to show up when we're hanging, when we're in the process
No,
of
when we're
hanging
in
new metal.
the, yeah,
on this.
exactly. We want to find everything right now and figure out what all the problems are and then go from here. So that's where we stand. So,
We gotta make sure we got a nice canvas to hang the
Yeah.
metal to.
yeah. Well, we want to be prepared, so
Yeah.
when we're ready to weld the quarter on, we're just ready to go and everything. We got everything ready and we're ready to weld.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least get as close as possible with that. So, all right. Well, that's it for now. Oh, we also did a little fitting with the outer wheel well and the quarter panel, and that's under the car right now, but that actually fits up real well. The fitment on that's good.
Yeah, the
And
stamping's nice.
we were questioning that because it's two different pieces of sheet metal. The quarter panels are old. I don't know when they were bought. They were probably bought in the 80s. And we just wanted to see how all the fitment was going to be on it. And it actually looks like it's going to fit real well.
Mhm.
So it doesn't look like we're going to have too many issues there. So, at least for right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised how nice that fits.
Yeah, it does fit in there good.
One's newer than the other.
Yeah, it does fit in there real
It's
well.
really nice and tight.
Yeah.
It wasn't sprung out or anything where you had to do some pulling or tweaking to make it fit when you put it on the car.
Yeah.
We are not gonna have that. We just need to make sure all that's ready to go before we go hang new metal on that thing.
Yeah. Well,
So we wanna be,
yeah, we want to make sure we're going to be right and everything's
nice
going to be
tight
kind of,
fits.
we want everything to kind of be as square as possible, as much as we can.
well, we know we're gonna do a little song and dance back in.
Yeah, the
here,
biggest problem,
But
the biggest problem with this aftermarket quarter, well, this quarter panel, I mean, the only way to get these pieces is if you buy a full or an 80%. So, what we're gonna, I don't know. When we get to this area, we're gonna have to figure it out. Our plan at this moment right now is to cut it right to here, and then bring this down, just cut it right in here, and then butt weld the other quarter to this, because this part is on that other quarter, and then bring it in, and then we'll have to make a flange to tuck underneath the the tail panel here. And they give us plenty of metal to do it. It's just that the flange isn't there, so we're going to have to try and make something so that it looks right. So we'll see how it goes. We haven't gotten to that point yet. We're still figuring out what's screwed up and what isn't.
we gotta get all the screw-ups.
Yeah, because this is all bent. That's a big dent from when it got hit back in the rear, and there's just no, you're not going to be able to pull that. There's just no way. It's too tight. So it's just probably going to be easier just to cut it real close right here and just,
We'll leave as much as we can.
yeah, and just butt weld the quarter on.
There.
So that'll hopefully try and clean up some of that. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll do what we can do. We're not a restoration shop. No. Yeah, we are. We're just two dudes in a garage trying to fix a Firebird. We're learning. No, we're doing pretty good so far. Yeah, it's just time. Time.
It's time with something that's as much wrecked.
Well, and it's figuring,
as far as been through.
and it's just figuring out what's screwed up and what isn't. And that's a lot of it. Because once we figure out what's not and what is, and straighten what's screwed up out, then we'll probably be pretty good.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, that's it for now.